All right. Waiting for Paige. Waiting for Paige. Once again. Come on, Paige. Oh, the bouncy. Very nice.
What's
Out of
going
nowhere.
on, Doctor?
What's your New Year's resolution, Vince?
My New Year's resolution is to be the best me I can be every day. That's my resolution.
Toni Storm. What do you think? What do you think about Toni Storm being? It wasn't necessarily her being released. As far as the current reports on it, is that she was burned out and she requested her release. Do you think that's a good call from Toni Storm?
Bro, it's a tough business. It's a tough business. It has ruined lives. Somebody this young may have realized, you know what? This ain't the type of life I want to live. If she realized at a very young age, this is not for me, it takes a lot of confidence in yourself. You know what I'm saying, bro? Because all of a sudden you're in a spot and you're on WWE TV and you realize, you know what, this maybe isn't what I thought it would be, and you have enough confidence in yourself to move on. A lot of people don't, bro. A lot of people don't.
Throw some questions out there as we wait for Paige to come. John Cena or Randy Orton? Okay. John Cena or Randy Orton? To me, hands down, Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton is one of the greatest all-around wrestlers in the history of WWE. I think that his longevity, being there for, he got there what, 2001, 2002. I think he came in the 2002 class with Lesnar and Cena and all of them. So like a solid 20 years almost, just about. And so, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, so what do you think? What do you think, Vince? John Cena or Randy Orton? Cena?
I think Cena. Well, bro, listen, it's no mystery why Cena's doing movies now. Yeah. Cena's got that movie star thing. Yeah. I don't know how Orton would fare outside of wrestling, but Cena just always had that bigger than wrestling sense where you knew he would go beyond.
Cena was, for the 15 years he was on top. Michael Cole called him the greatest wrestler in the history, the greatest superstar in the history of WWE. I don't know. It's just something about Cena that just really didn't click for me. He did what he was supposed to do. For what I've known, I've interviewed dozens of people who worked with Cena. They said that he has one of the best work ethics in professional wrestling, and he gets mad respect from me for that, for sure. Just from moving the needle standpoint, I just like the Cena era to me is like right after Ruthless, like right around Ruthless Aggression, and it just seems like Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression was still doing decent, and then after Ruthless Aggression, it really didn't have much identity. Just Cena was on top after 2005. I don't know. I mean, but you know what? To your point though, Randy Orton, as many title reigns as he had, I think he's at 14 now. He's never been like for a long period of time the top star. Like he's never been like the top guy. So to your point, I'll give that to you for saying.
And I always do, Chris. Like every time somebody says John Cena, I think of Make-A-Wish. You know what I'm saying? And when I think of that, it's always going to give him the edge, man.
All right, so let's start out with the "oh my God" moment of the night of the week. Eric, or should I say, as a Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff returns to WWE. A couple months ago, he was actually in a feud with Tony Khan. I know that we talked about that, you and I, before on our other shows. And you thought it was a work. Basically, what happened was in October, Tony Khan sent a tweet say, he actually said this. I'm going to quote it. He said, Ted Turner, but Ted Turner didn't know 1% of what I know about professional wrestling if WCW would still be on TNT and TBS/TBS. And that really lit up Bischoff, and he talked about in his podcast. He said he said it was an ignorant statement, and he was talking about like he wouldn't know that. And it seemed like, I mean, we haven't seen Bischoff affiliated with AEW since then, and then he's even on WWE television 2 months later. Do you still think it's a work, or do you think this may be a shoot?
Bro, this past Raw, the entire management team was not there.
Correct.
Vince was not there. Hayes, Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, Adam Pearce. So you had Johnny Ace and one of the head writers, Kretzky, I think. You had them running the show.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I would not be at all surprised if that's why Pritchard called Eric to appear on the show. For Eric to also be his eyes and let him know what was going on backstage, and to have somebody with that type of management experience there with everybody else missing. So I think there was more to it, bro, than him just being the minister of the wedding. And quite frankly, I think that's a smart move. Like, I really do, bro. With everybody absent, if you could have a senior guy there that Bruce could get a hold of what's going on, how's everything running, I think that's a good call. I do tend to think that now Eric and Khan was not a work, but I will also tell you I will not be the least bit surprised to see Eric appear on AEW again. Yeah,
I can see it. I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Bischoff came on AEW television again too. I wouldn't be surprised too.
I can't imagine that. Tony's too classy a cat. He's super friends with Pritchard. You know, those guys are good buddies, man. They got really tight, back when he's really started doing his show with Conrad. And Conrad would be that conduit. And I actually, when I did that first all-in show that they did, because I did a DDP yoga retreat there, Conrad, he called me. I was one of the first people he called because he was only going to have like 4 or 5 podcasts and like 20 or 30 of the guys. And it turned into 45 podcasts and 150 of the boys there. And it turned into some really big deal. And I was actually excited because I didn't know that Pritchard and Bischoff were tight. And they were going to go in a face-off, WCW against WWF. And I'm like, okay, I want to go. I want to see that. I mean, Bischoff was at AEW one day, and then he was getting inducted in the damn Hall of Fame, a couple weeks later. So I can't imagine. Hey, you never know. I like the bit with Miz and his girl and renewing the vows and all in the white. So I thought it was telegraphed a little bit much. A little bit telegraphed there, but that's not the boys. That's production. Because there, as Vince knows, you don't do anything that you ain't supposed to do unless you are the guy.
All right, let's go on to broing down memory lane. So Bischoff comes to WWE and hugs McMahon. He basically, there was a GM role that needed to be filled, and then all of a sudden, Eric Bischoff comes out. They give each other a hug. That basically was still to this day one of the most surprising. Oh, time out, Joey, time out. What do you got, man?
Bro, I'm gonna tell you the God honest truth behind that.
Yep.
Bro, remember I was hired in 2002. Okay? And the way I was hired, Vince was having secret meetings with me that nobody knew about. Okay? This is pre Eric Bischoff ever working for the WWE. When I met with Vince, I told Vince, bro, you got to have Bischoff on your show. Nice. You've got to have Bischoff on the show. And what I said, now, bro, listen, a lot of people know Eric and I don't get along too well, but Eric's a great performer, bro. I will never take that away. And I said that because Vince didn't know Eric. They never worked together. And I said, Vince, he is one of the best performers in the business. You have so much storytelling, so much meat on the bone. You've got to bring him in. And I pitched the story, bro, where it was going to kind of be a triangle between Vince and Eric and Shane. And like Shane was the one that was smelling a rat. And Vince was accusing Shane of being jealous. You don't know what you've always been jealous, blah, 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 blah. And then finally, Eric was going to drop the bomb on Vince, just like Shane said. So I pitched an entire story. So quite frankly, when I saw him appear on WWE, I was very, very, very happy to see that.
Did you ever think that he would jump ship to having an on-screen role in the WWE?
Never. And not because he wouldn't do business and do it. I just imagine, like, never. Like, that just would never happen. You know, after everything, him calling Vince out, like, he wanted, like, at the time, you have to remember, Bischoff's not afraid of anybody, man. He's a third-degree black belt. Back in the day, like, when me and him had our, like, when we met, it was a pull-apart fight because we were both drunk as hell, and where it went the next day, and, like, I mean, like, it happened again when I got off the elevator later on, and, you know, and I'm going to crush him, but no, I'm not. We probably would have had a pretty good fight going, but back then. But bottom line is separated again, and I was going to tell you this, the next morning, like, my alarm goes off, I'm up, I'm going to go see him before I leave because I want to see how tough he is in the morning because he was plastered. And I'm walking to the door and I hear knock, knock, knock. I think it's, you know, the cleaning ladies. And I open the door and it's him. And back then he had long silver hair. Like he had silver hair since he was 22 years old. He had long silver hair, leather coat, and he was rode hard, put away wet. And I'll guarantee his wife, Lori, said, you know, you really need to go down there and talk to him, you know, and before he comes talk to you. And the bottom line, I opened the door and he said, I heard I was a real a-hole last night. I said, yeah, you were. As a matter of fact, I was just on my way down to talk to you. In true Bischoff form, he says, I saved you the walk. He said, there's two ways we can handle this. Now, this is the character of Eric Bischoff, who the real guy is. He said, there's two ways we can handle this. One, just punch me in the mouth. He goes, or two, shake my hand and accept my apology. I forgot to tell you that part. He pulled his front three teeth out, which was a bridge back then. He pulled it out and said, punch me in the mouth, whatever works. And that's where I just popped. When it came down to Vince, he called Vince out. He meant it. Like, meet me in the parking lot. He meant it. He wasn't talking smack. So you know what he did? He brought a book with him. He sat over in the corner. He read his book till it was time to go. And then he came out. And if you look at that guy who hugged Vince McMahon and went out there and cut that promo, it's like he just left WCW the night before. To me, Bischoff was as good as it gets creatively seeing a vision that nobody else sees, and that's visionary, heavy duty visionary stuff. But then acclimating like himself.
Based on what you have right now, what would be shocking? How would you book something shocking that would change the course of professional wrestling and cause a bunch of buzz, right?
Oh my God, bro. To me, I don't know, Chris, if shocking is the right word, but I wish, especially the WWE, I wish they would just start producing television reality-based. You know, in other words, Chris, there's so many holes in the show. Last week, senior management is not there. We're reading about people having COVID, but that gets totally ignored on TV. Why? Why isn't that the show? Why isn't the show, man? A lot of people that were scheduled on the show came down with COVID. Now they're going to be isolated. The WWE, bro, they really need to get back to the reality of the business. And in my last exchange with Vince, that's what I stressed. That's what I stressed, bro. You've got to make this real, bro.
Do you think that the quality of professional wrestling and the emphasis of professional wrestling gets even more diluted because he's such a businessman and is looking at deals and digital stuff? And like, do you think that that'll affect the quality of wrestling?
Yeah, it already has, bro. Let's face it, Chris. They bastardize their own show going 3 hours. Yeah. Because I understand the money, bro, and I understand the paycheck, but you have to have that discussion. What happens to the integrity of the show? Well, sure. We all saw what happened to the integrity of the show. I don't think you could put a price tag on that, Chris. I really, really don't. I think the integrity of the show is the most important thing, and they sold that out. And ever since they went to that 3 hours, bro, it's been a totally different presentation. Now, maybe if they went to another network, maybe another network or a streaming service doesn't want 3 hours. Yeah. But if it were up to them, no, we would always see 3 hours.
Close it off with Alberto Del Rio. I've actually interviewed him this week, a couple days ago, actually. But when I interviewed him on Tuesday, I mean, it felt like it was an entirely different person. He felt like it was pep. He felt like there was vigor. He felt like he was rejuvenated. He felt like, he said, the Empire State Building. I said it felt like it was a big burden lifted off his shoulders. He said, yeah, it feels like the Empire State Building was lifted off of my shoulders. So he's cleared of all the charges now. Where do you think Alberto Del Rio goes?
Bro, I'll be honest with you, man. Both of these rosters are so loaded. Bro, neither company is going to make them special. And I think Alberto Del Rio is special. I do. I think he is a special talent. He would definitely be at the top of the card if I were writing. But the fact of the matter is, bro, both rosters are so loaded. Either place he goes, he's not going to be special. So if I'm him, I'm just going to the highest bidder. I mean, that's what whoever is going to offer me the most money, that's where I'm going to go, because I know darn well they're not going to give him his just desserts, bro. This is a guy that should be featured, headline, looks the part, looks like $1 million, but so does Morrow. What happened to him? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what's going to happen. So if I were him, I would probably try to play both ends against the middle and walk away with as much money as he could.
I think he goes wherever he wants, but with WWE, I would want to pull him in because, you know, he's a main event guy that showed that he can go, you know. So, you know, who knows?
4-time world champion.
I mean, the cat's real, you know. And how old is he now?
44.
Yeah, he's still got game. You know, he's still got game to go. And I think that someone give him an opportunity. I think he'll be if he showed up in AEW, that would be pretty sweet for them. Because he's a guy you haven't seen for a long time, but everybody knows who he is.
Yep.
And
I just interviewed him a couple of days ago, and so he said he wants to be world champ again in 2022. I think he would have a better shot in AEW as world champion.
Well, I think that no matter how you look at it, for that maybe. I don't know about that, but I know that he could carry that, and he moves the needle.
He does.
And he'll definitely pull people in to see if he can still go, and I'm sure he can.